Well, it's 3 a.m. and I can't sleep, so let's do this. So, Uncharted, based on the games by Naughty Dog, you know the story. Really fun adventure games with fun characters and all that. Does the movie have that? Nada. Well, for one, I wasn't too crazy about this movie when it was first announced, well, especially when they announced that Tom Holland and Mark Wahlberg would be playing Nathan Drake and Sully. And when actually seeing the movie, I still wasn't fazed. I mean, at least Tom Holland somewhat captures the mannerisms of Drake with him being sly, but he's not really as cunning in this sense, and, you know, he's a little more... I don't get how he's a lot of a nerd with, like, you know, totally ripped abs or something. I don't know, it just didn't work for me. I mean, as far as Mark Wahlberg goes, he doesn't sell me as Sully at all. Like, typically in this movie, he's described as somebody who you shouldn't mess with or shouldn't trust. But the movie never really goes out of way to show his, you know, his merit or, like, skills as a scavenger or whatever. Plus, Mark Wahlberg was supposed to be Nathan Drake in early development of this movie, which sounds only slightly better. You know, but after Max Payne in this, I think he should just stop doing video game movies. And I know that this movie is trying to market off the fact that it takes place way early in the timeline, kind of like a flashback did in the third game. But I feel like they're really overcompensating for the fact that they look way too young for their roles. Like, in the games, Sully's always making comments about how he's not as young as he used to be, which it was understandable then, but here it's like at least 3 times he's made a joke about how, like, oh, I can't see very well or something. I'm just like, dude, you're 50 with ripped abs, okay? You're fine. I mean, truthfully, this is just another generic adventure movie that really doesn't try to throw any curveballs at you and only tries to make it more interesting by referencing better adventure films. I mean, I can see why people would enjoy a movie like this, but for me personally, it just feels so dry and there are really no new tricks up its sleeve. None of the characters that were in the game put in this movie are nearly as interesting, nor the antagonists that were made for this movie are interesting at all, and they're just so weak that, you know, you're just gonna forget about them the next morning, and shit, I already have, and it's been a week later, but, you know, I've been awful busy lately, so whatever. There are a few Easter eggs that longtime players of the series could probably understand. Like, there's a scene where Drake opens up a suitcase, and for a very brief second, you see a Naughty Dog sticker. And there's a scene where Drake goes to Sully's place to pick up something that Sully stole from him, and he also steals, he's like, I'm gonna take this too, this, like, green statue, which really, just to me at least, felt like a quick wink to the treasure collecting aspect of the game. You know, I might be stretching that a bit, but the movie's leaving me no choice. There's portions near the third act that really feel like they're stretching for time, even though this movie, even without that, would have been over 2 hours. And it's just like, I feel like they're really overcompensating for the fact that there's really nothing going on for this movie, and there's nothing really holding it together, so they're trying to make it long enough to make it seem like there's something going on when there really isn't. There really isn't, guys. Like, it's trying to go bigger for an adventure film, but it's nothing, man. It's nothing. And there's this weird dance sequence in a club when they're going on an exhibition, but it literally, like, is completely pointless. It's there for barely 5 minutes, and I think it's only made as an excuse to be, like, a fight sequence, but the combat barely, you know, lasts 45 seconds, and once it's done, that scene is, like, over and done with. It's like it never even happened. Dude, the Nolan North cameo does more justice for Nathan Drake than this whole movie does for Uncharted, even though it holds that fucking name. But at least thank you for Nolan North, okay? He can make the best out of anything. So yeah, truthfully, I'm just really phased out by this movie, and based on the finished product, it really didn't need to happen. You know, at least with these Naughty Dog adaptations, I'm at least really hoping that the Last of Us series that's being made by HBO is at least watchable, is at least more enjoyable and more true to the original source material than this. But then again, there's been a lot of instances on this channel where I've said things that have not aged well, so yeah. But with that said, I'm walking out of this movie with a 3 out of 10. So check it out and see for yourself.